Hey guys, what's up? It is Sarfnic here. Welcome back to another episode of Harth History. This is episode 7, and today we're going to be dealing with Harth SMP Season 3. Harth Adventures had just concluded, and we booted up this world. Now, I was the owner of the server, paying for it and everything, so I had access to the early stuff. We built a little lobby, actually, Warcries and I. It had some nice references to the older seasons with Fire and Baby Builder. I realize we never mentioned Baby Builder. He teamed up with Fire in Season 2, if you guys are wondering, on that Mushroom Island base. And we set everything up. And then the SMP began, and it started out well. We all formed different teams and split up. Warcries and Admin HP were together. I teamed up with my main man Steel, or as he'll be later known as Gordon Lewis. I had a really tiny area as a base. We never really did much with it. I had made no base progress this season. Now, Warcries and Admin HP actually split up, and War decided to build this concrete city, which is where I kind of spent most of my time helping out with. This was all near spawn, by the way, and then a little bit closer to spawn than War's base, Shoffley built a place for himself. And Shoffley decided to grind this SMP. I believe he played in Season 1, and he may have been part of the RPG, but he was not too active in Hearth until this one. And he liked the elixir system they had, which we're going to say now was extremely flawed, way too overpowered. It gave you so much buffs just for grinding. It's horrible. Shoffley conquered it and then quit the SMP after like a month, though. In the complete opposite direction from spawn, but still near spawn and still in the same mountain biome, Aramus built a base. He was known as Kai back then. Like a little fort. Never made too much build progress on it, but when has Aramus ever made build progress on SMP, like seriously? There's also Sam. He was known as Marco or Walrus back then. He played Season 1 as we interviewed him, and he just kind of did what he wanted, I guess. Then there was this awesome snow biome. I remember selling the cords to Shoffley because he was looking for an ice spikes biome, and basically there was no ice spikes biome there. And War's like, well, did you just scam Shoffley? And I'm like, well, no, because I never said there was a guarantee of there being an ice spikes biome. I just said there's an ice biome here, and they're quite likely to have ice spikes. But I'm willing to say I didn't like Shoffley in this SMP. He was too always angry and wanting to make deals. Like, earlier in the season, this is the same as Season 2 where you could collect spawners and Silk Touch. He's found a nether fortress and tried to claim it for himself, although that was literally against the rules. And so Warcries later on took the spawner, and he was so angry trying to debate with Warcries about it. I think he even planned to steal the spawner back, because Warcries had like a public blaze farm in the overworld. Warcries base turned out to be alright. We were the richest faction by far, but there was a little bit of corruption apparently. Warcries admitted later on, like a year after the season, that he actually spawned in resources for his base. Literally admin abuse. Even I've never done that on an SMP. Anyways, continuing to move through the bases. Past this ice biome, there was another mountain biome. It's a different one. And that's where Sensul, aka ButterTaco, lived. Now, if you watch my SMP series, you'll actually not see Butter in any of the videos. And the reason why that is because he actually came around the last episode, but my last episode was, like, corrupted, and I totally could have edited it anyways, but I didn't. So the only clip we have of him is this porn one.
We have here a penguin, a wild sensul in the wilderness. Let me go and upload this to Pornhub.
But it doesn't show his voice, so it's actually really sad, man. I wish I uploaded those videos instead of deleting them, but they were kind of corrupted, so it's kind of hard. So yeah, you don't get to hear his young voice ever on recording. Anyways, there's like an ocean next to this ice biome, so if you go past that, there is a forest island. It's actually more a peninsula than an island, but they always called it an island. It was called Z's Island for Zins, aka Moderate Muffin. It was kind of like a modern city, kind of based off of our GL first season base, but it was never finished, and there was a chicken reactor there, and it got lightninged. We actually spent a lot of time at this base. This is probably the most popular base other than Warcries' place. And there were other players that played this SMP, but just watch the series if you want to see them. Anyways, believe it or not, there was a great conflict here. So, Warcries and I were both admins. I owned the server, but he did a lot of the plugins work and stuff. Warcries and I actually disagreed on a few things as admins. First thing being the main thing that causes conflict was this is really dumb, like really small to have this huge conflict start from. Basically, I disagreed with him. He said that the closer you are to spawn, the less land you're allowed to claim, and I said that's dumb. Just same amount of land everywhere. And I still agree with that today. It's just fair. Same amount of land everywhere. It makes no sense at all. And remember the Shoffley spawner thing? Well, guess what? Back then I was dumb and I actually sided with Shoffley. Now, I rarely take a side in Harth History, but I'm taking the side here Warcries and Aramus did a fucking stupid, retarded thing and decided that they'd steal the server files from me without my permission at all, just so they could switch the role over and I wouldn't be admin anymore. And so they did it. They transferred it, and it also broke the server, meaning I couldn't even start the server without the files for some reason. And they switched it over to Aramis' previous Harth Adventure server. I seriously don't know what made Warcry think that he was a better admin than me, or more just, seeing as he actually cheated in that season. I didn't cheat at all. I actually remember I used to have recordings of this huge conflict, but I don't anymore, and there's actually one that Shoffley has, but it doesn't really accurately show it because I was muted the whole time during it. But basically, yeah, the server members did not like it at all. I forgot to mention, Fyro played this SMP like minorly, played like a few days and quit, but he was there for this, and they decided to rant against the admins and get it back on the old world and have me reinstated, which was amazing. I was actually shocked with that today, actually taking my side for once.
All have it. Alright, this is what we
We
should do.
made
We should
a
have
new
super
Everyone,
channel.
everyone, I think it's time. We just need to revert everything back.
Wait,
Revert
guys,
everything
yes,
back
I'm
to Harth.
doing that right now, but everyone be quiet. We've made a
Solution
solution to that. So everyone quiet. We've made a
Oh, I
solution
just
to this.
realized because Sarfnic is
Okay, quiet, Marco. Everyone quiet.
So yeah, that's just one little peek of the clip. It's pretty amazing, isn't it, what happened that day? Anyways, yeah, we reinstated the server, and the SMP continued as usual. I believe this was before Sensil even joined as well. But this SMP got boring really fast. One of the worst SMPs we've ever had, and it ended. That's about it for that one. Hello, Mr. Deer with a Glock. Once again, we are interviewing you for, this time, Harth SMP Season 3.
Hello again, Zane from Ninjago. Ask your questions and have done with it.
Warcries, what do you think about Harth SMP Season 3?
Really put a lot of thought into these questions, huh, Sarf? No, so SMP Season 3 was actually the very first SMP, the official SMP anyway, that I played on. And I had been kind of walking in the circle of Harth for a little while. I had come into the picture while Harth was in its off season, and the SMP, I was already kind of liked by a lot of prominent members, yourself, Warcries. I'd already had a fair amount of time to get to know them. Krat is another one. A lot of the members that were part of TWD, or eventually became part of TWD when it was actually codified into a Discord.
As Sarfnic has already recollected to you, Season 3 was definitely the worst season of the 5 so far. It began with a small port spawn on a river, and below that,
spawn.
an elixir cave, yeah. From the bad builder. Never
Clash
had
of
them.
Clans moment.
Yes. Elixir is only from Clash of Clans. Anyway.
Harth SMP Season 3 started out with a bang. Warcries made a fantastic spawn build. It wasn't a true SMP in that there was a augmented system that we kind of look back on with shadow-tinted glasses, the elixir system.
There is an elixir system similar, although not nearly as balanced as Harth Adventures. It gave you like haste boost based on your stats and a bunch of different stuff, and you could buy weapons and so on, custom weapons.
Which you would be rewarded for spam mining. You would have players mining out chunks, for instance, just to farm this. Yeah, just to farm this secondary resource that was basically a badly implemented holdover from Harth SMP, or Harth Adventures pre-season, rather. Excuse me.
What happened there was it was largely exploited in that domain, and that's kind of what its main downfall outside of the actual arguments was.
Season 3 started with a bang because I remember a perfect moment. Well, first of all, I remember I think it was Fyro's statue getting roasted over a fire.
Yeah, the lobby was hilarious.
It was.
Warcries
It was also,
5
despite being my first season, I felt like I was treated kind of like a core member already because I had a statue in the spawn. Now, we ended up going down into the mines, the base of the spawn build, and we were all discussing the greatest influence on the season, which would be the teams. I remember this moment very clearly. I was already off punching wood. I was a very roguish youth back then. You said, I will be starting the first team, I think. And because I am the owner and Muhammad Jihad and all of these things, and you had your little map open. And then Warcries is like, I will start the second team, in his very squeakerish, very prim voice back then. And I'm like, we're the Winter Crown Dwarves. I'm starting the third team. And everyone's like, fuck yeah, let's go join Kaib.
Yeah, I remember that. Roll the clip.
I will be the leader of the first team, so if anyone wants to join,
Yes.
I will be the leader of the second team. Join me. I am better than all of you.
Well,
I'm leading the third. We are the Winter Crown.
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go join Kai because he sounds the best.
yeah, Louis,
You know what? I'm joining
Kai.
Let's go.
The hilarious part about that is I didn't take on a single teammate until almost halfway through the SMP when I took on Whalerus as a teammate.
Yeah. So,
Hilarious.
do you remember your base?
I
The mountains.
do. So I found this nice little crook in the mountains that was very close to spawn. I think my base was one of the closest to spawn of anyone's, actually, even closer than your initial base was. And basically what I did is I encompassed this valley. I used the mountains sort of as fence posts and encircled the entire thing in a very long cobblestone wall, a very large cobblestone wall, because I obviously was a mining meth head back then. I tried to make it look fairly dwarven. I posted on each of the mountaintops sort of these burning pillars, watchtowers, if you will. I tried to make it look okay, but I never really got around to the architecture. That was also the first instance of a chicken reactor ever being recorded on Hearth, if I'm not mistaken. An automatic chicken dispensary would constantly fill the valley with which I had built walls around with chickens.
I remember that. I remember going in there with Coot one time. We just killed some chickens and left.
Typical.
There was a porn episode with me getting my ass eaten out by the Ender Dragon being played by Sam, with Shaftly recording it.
Yeah.
That was probably the best thing that happened that season. Other than that, I think I enslaved you to dig out a couple chunks for me, and then I dug out some more on
I
my
remember
own.
refusing after a little while. I said, nah, it's boring.
Yeah, you dug out like half of it and you just gave up. I was like, all right, fine by me. And then I think the only other notable thing that I did other than just sit there and play was Sam broke like one block on my base, and I got really pissed off for some reason, and it made like some stupid drama. Yeah, more or less. No, I didn't
think-
call it for the admins. I just kept on telling him to replace it, and he was like, dude, what's the problem? And that one block that was broken is where the porn episode was recorded.
Oh, wow.
So, full circle.
Do you remember Shoffley and his abuse of the elixir system?
I would more cogently say that I remember the elixir system being unbalanced as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool attempt. I get the idea, and we liked it in the moment. It became tacky fairly quickly, and so Shaftly had a teammate, did he not?
He had a few friends. I think IRL friends that played with him, and he had a little brother as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who exactly were his teammates. I guess I don't remember much about Shaftly, actually, when it comes to Season 3, I have to admit. I do remember that I was top of the leaderboards for a considerable portion of the SMP, but he ended up surpassing me, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that.
So, as you can see in the screenshot he has pulled up at the moment, we demoted him from CEO during this season. Warcries, Sarfnic were the CEOs at the time, so Sarfnic and I. And Aramus became a staff member shortly afterwards.
Yes, the first Sarfnician civil war ended with the deposition of Sard as formal owner of Hearth, and would kind of lay the groundwork for my ascension to admin. I was kind of a passive player in all this, but Warcries has always pretty endemically trusted me. So much so that we have you may mention this, this may come to effect in the Hearth meme review. Warcries simps for Aramus. This was one of the first instances of Warcries simping for Aramus. And yeah, I wanted to run the server fairly well, but I didn't know a lot about server hosting at the time. That was my first time ever doing something like that, and it was done on a spur of the moment. It wasn't calculated. We were just I remember us being unhappy with how things were being collectively run and wanted to set up an altar.
This was led up to by a bunch of dramas, one of which included, most of which actually just were regarding land ownership in general.
Yeah, about how it worked on the SMP. It was dumb. It was really small stuff in the back.
It was a collection of small dramas. I thought your ruling was stupid, and I actually still agree that your ruling was stupid. It should have been settled in a better manner, but still.
And
the Trade Federation remains strictly neutral.
In general, you weren't a good CEO, to be honest.
Nor
Neither
were
was
you,
I
as we
at
will
the
soon find
No,
out.
this is correct. As I was saying, neither was I at the time.
Arguably, I was a better CEO.
Yeah, at the time. In terms of actual rulings, I'd say I was better. In terms of corruptness, you were better. You were better, yeah. So, continuing, some of these dramas include the Spawn drama, Shafley's drama, in which he tried claiming a nether fortress, which was an illegal action at the time. And he didn't know that. And we revoked the nether fortress from him, and he got very pissy. Afterwards, we hosted on Aramus' server, which was fairly laggy at the time.
So
as it
then
was
they had to
self-hosted
bring it
terminology.
back.
Yeah.
It was so
Uh,
pathetic. Because Warcries was actually admin. I think I used MC Pro back then. This was before
Shall
I used
we?
Shockbite.
So, during season 3, I was corrupt, just as I'm pretty sure what Sarfnic was to some degree. No.
I
was
never
he?
I never cheated stuff in, but I had bad judgment with rules.
Either way, it was not to an extreme degree, but it was not to a degree in which I was like stealing from anyone or any of that, but I was spawning stuff in for building a base because I was too lazy to get concrete for my honestly kind of company fade like base, in which he was trying to do a company thing.
I want to see your reaction to this thing that Warcries admitted to recently. So Warcries admitted to actually cheating in the season and spawning in blocks for his builds or whatever.
I can probably believe that.
Anyways.
Small Warcries was scum, but I identified great potential in him. I walked up to him when he first arrived on, I believe it was Winter Crown Citadel, and said, "I will be watching your career with great interest."
So it was red and white concrete, if I remember.
Concrete's a
correctly.
grind to get. It was like red and gray and white, I think.
Yeah. Either way, obviously I shouldn't have done it.
Gray was what the color was, but
Yeah.
obviously, how was it? Massive amount or a little amount of spawning?
It was like a mediocre amount, a few stacks maybe.
Oh, that's not mediocre. I guess technically that is mediocre when it comes to building.
Harth SMP Season 3 was a fantastic breakout. I got to learn who and all was the head honchos, the big cheeses of Harth, as it were. And that was my first opportunity to meet who would become Exec. Sensel, I don't even remember interacting much with Firel, even though I remember approving of him. I remember I was the first one to go to the Nether, I think?
There was also the admin HP situation on
Yeah,
there.
that's gonna
which
be my
he
next question. That's
cheated.
literally gonna be my next question.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that was another point of contempt between us at some point.
It was our
another
first
one of-
Hearth ban, I believe,
Yeah.
of the season. It was the only one.
He
of season three.
effectively, it was illegal and very clearly made illegal that you cannot, or very clearly established that you are not allowed to use Schematica autoplays, only just normal Schematica. And
Which
he
is
proceeded to
something
use Schematica autoplays. We told
was
him off,
established
we
in
warned
season
him,
one.
and then he used it again, and then we warned him again, and then he did it again,
And you're like, yeah.
and he got banned. So, very much on admin's fault there. Regarding myself, I'd argue I hate the term completely different person, but I'm a very different person in terms of personality. From like between that gap of season 3 to season 4 was perhaps the moment in which I grew the most in terms of personality, partially because of the cheating.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun on Season 3, even though it was definitely less intense than the other
Short-lived,
seasons.
yeah.
Short-lived because of the Sarfnician Civil War and the fact that Minecraft just wasn't that sustainable back then. You look at how far we've come. Season 4 sustained far better than Season 3, in my opinion.
And
Even
season
though-
5, same.
Yeah, Season 5 had a lot of things going against it, but I'm assuming you'll have me interviewed for that one as well.
Of course. Anyway.
All right. Thank you, Zane from Ninjaga. It's been a very productive interview.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Yes, another Hearth season without a world download. I wonder if there'll be a world download for the next one. I want to see if you guys can guess. But yeah, thanks for watching. Next up, we have a relatively more interesting episode. You just have to wait and see. It's on your screen right now. Go watch it, or else you're bad.